Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another powerful episode of Energize Your Passion, where we shine light into those dark corners of life and remind each other what it means to truly live with purpose, fire, and heart. I'm your host, Sunshine, and today we're diving into one of the rawest, realest topic we've ever tackled. When life knocks you down, finding motivation. Let's be honest, life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes it feels like it's not just one thing, it's everything at once. A breakup, a job loss, your health takes a hit, friendships fall apart, and suddenly you find yourself sitting there wondering, how do I even begin to get back up from this? Well, guess what? You're not alone, not even close. We're all walking this path together, even when it feels like we're stumbling through the dark alone. And today, this episode is here to remind you of the truth. You are stronger than your struggle. You can rise, even when it feels impossible. And more than that, you can rise with joy, with purpose, and with passion. So whether you're sipping your coffee, walking the dog, driving home from work, or curled up under the covers with tears in your eyes, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Segment 1, Hitting the Ground Hard When Life Feels Heavy. All right, fam. Let's start from the place so many of us know all too well, the fall. The moment when everything changes and not in the way we hope. That crash lands where your dreams feel shattered, your energy is drained, and you start to wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. It's okay if that's where you are right now. There's no shame in it. In fact, there's something incredibly honest and courageous about facing that space and naming it. Let's just sit in that for a second. Breathe. Just breathe. You're here. You made it to this podcast. That alone is a step. That alone is strength. Now, let me tell you a story that one of my listeners shared. Her name is Maya, and her courage is something I think we all can pull from. Maya was riding high just a year ago. She had finally landed her dream job in a new city. Everything seemed to be aligning. But then, within 6 months, everything unraveled. A sudden layoff, a breakup, and then the cherry on top, her mother was diagnosed with cancer. She told me, Sunshine, it felt like someone took the rug out from under me and I just kept falling. Every time I tried to breathe, life hit me again. Maya isolated herself. She stopped reaching out to friends, stopped doing the little things she loved, painting, reading, even going on walks. Her motivation wasn't just gone, it felt buried. But here's what changed. One night, she sat on the bathroom floor. Tears, silence, emptiness. And she whispered to herself, this can't be it. That tiny voice, that flicker of fight, that was her turning point. She didn't suddenly bounce back, but she did start showing up for herself, one day at a time, one task at a time. That voice inside, it grew louder, and that, my friend, is where the spark of motivation begins. Maya's story is one of so many, and it reminds us that when life knocks us down, We don't always get to choose how or when, but we do get to choose how we show up after that fall. Now, before we go too far, let's take a pause and acknowledge something. It's okay not to be okay. Let me say that again. It's okay not to be okay. Motivation doesn't start with Pinterest quotes or flashy routines. It begins with truth. And the truth is, feeling low doesn't make you broken, it makes you real. And guess what? Real people are the ones who rise up the strongest. Let me share another powerful listener moment. Carlos, a high school teacher in Atlanta, told us his knockout moment came not with one big event, but with a slow drip of burnout. Every day, he gave more than he had to his students, his family, his community, but he wasn't pouring anything back into himself. Then one morning, he couldn't get out of bed. Not didn't want to, but couldn't. He lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering when he had stopped living and started simply surviving. What got him to take a step forward, he says, it was hearing his own child say, "Daddy, I miss your laugh." We, that one hit me in the heart. He realized he had been disappearing, not out of weakness, but because he hadn't given himself permission to pause, to heal, to breathe. So, what did he do? He took 2 weeks off. 2 weeks when he didn't push, didn't teach, didn't fix everything for everyone. He journaled, he listened to music, he went for walks, and slowly that laugh, his laugh, came back. Here's the truth: motivation doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing to sit up in bed, brush your teeth, and make a cup of tea. When you're down, the first step isn't to leap, it's to look up and decide, I'm still here. You don't have to climb the mountain today. Just reach for your shoes. So if you're listening to this and you're in the valley, please know you are not alone. We've all stumbled, but you're already doing the brave thing. You're choosing to listen to hope, to keep going. Now, in our next segment, we're going to explore that tiny flicker, the part of us that wants to rise even when everything around us says we shouldn't. It's the voice that says, try again. We'll talk about what motivation really is. And spoiler alert, is not about hustle or hype. We've made a space for the fall. Now let's find the flicker. In the next segment, we'll talk about how to spark motivation from within, not from outside pressure, but from your deepest values, purpose, and passion. And yes, we're here from two more beautiful souls who found light in the dark. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Segment 2, The Flicker of Fight, Discovering Inner Motivation. Welcome back, beautiful people. If you're still with me, first of all, thank you. That says a lot about your heart and your strength. You've sat with the hard stuff. You've looked it in the eye, and now we're ready to talk about the flicker. That little spark inside of you that refuses to go out, no matter how many storms try to blow it out. Let's be real. Motivation isn't about waking up every day ready to run a marathon or conquer the world. It's not about pushing yourself into exhaustion or pretending everything's okay. Motivation is a quiet resilience. It's that gentle, stubborn whisper that says, I'm not done yet. And here's the thing. True motivation doesn't always come from the outside. It lives inside of you. Even when you forget, it's there. It's not a hype man. It's not a playlist. It's not a TED talk. Inner motivation is personal. It's rooted in why you care, what you love, and who you are becoming. When life knocks you down, the reason you get back up has to come from something deeper than I should or they expect me to. It has to come from your why. And you don't need to have some fancy answer to that. Your why can be as simple and as powerful as I want to be there for my kids. I know I'm meant for more. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to love myself again. That's the flicker. That's the fire. And that brings me to our next beautiful story because this one gave me chills. Jasmine is a 29-year-old nursing student from Philly. She reached out to share her story of hitting rock bottom after losing her younger brother to a tragic accident. She told me that after the funeral, she didn't leave her apartment for almost a month. Grief swallowed her whole. She quit school. She ghosted her friends. She stopped writing poetry, the one thing that always helped her heal. She said, Sunshine, I didn't recognize myself anymore. It was like my soul left the room. But one morning, she woke up just as the sun was rising. She hadn't slept, and her eyes was puffy from crying. But the way the light came through the window that morning, it felt like her brother saying, I'm still with you. That same day, she picked up a pen and wrote a poem for the first time in months. One line she shared gave me goosebumps. She wrote, even broken wings can lift the heart if they remember the sky. We, y'all, Jasmine Flicker. It was her brother's memory, her art, her need to heal. That's the kind of motivation that can light your soul up from the inside out. What about you? What's your flicker? Is it your children? Your creativity? The future you haven't even imagined yet? Sometimes we forget that even in the darkest rooms, just one tiny candle changes everything. Now, this next story is from someone who found his flicker in the middle of a panic attack, right in the frozen food aisle at Target. Malik is a single dad from Milwaukee. He told me he had been trying to hold it all together. 2 jobs, co-parenting, taking night classes, all while grieving the loss of his father. It finally caught up to him while grocery shopping. He said, I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying. He sat down right there by the frozen peas, trying not to cry in public. And then a stranger, an older woman, walked over and handed him a napkin. That's it. No words, just a napkin. And in that moment, it hit him. He didn't have to pretend he was okay anymore. Malik told me that napkin meant everything. It reminded him that vulnerability is not weakness, it's a doorway. He started going to therapy. He started writing letters to his dad. He started showing himself the same kindness that woman showed him. And that became his flicker. The truth that he didn't have to be perfect, just present. Let's talk about permission for a second. Sometimes the reason our motivation disappears It's because we're buried under all of these expectations and roles. We tell ourselves, I'm supposed to be strong. I should have it all figured out by now. I don't have time to fall apart. Now that's one I tell myself. But guess what? Falling apart is sometimes part of finding yourself again. You have permission to cry, to rest, to pause. And yes, you have permission to dream again, too. Because that flicker inside of you is still there. And the more you feed it by resting, reconnecting, being gentle with yourself, the stronger it burns. Take a deep breath with me right now. Seriously. Inhale. Hold it. Now let it go. That breath, that's your reminder you're alive. You're still here. And every breath is another chance to move forward, even if it's just a little. Here are a few prompts to explore. What makes me feel most like myself? When have I felt truly alive in the past? What do I want to move forward, even if it scares me? You don't need perfect answers, just curiosity. That's enough. Because when you find your why, you'll find your way. And now, we're about to dig deeper because next up, we're moving into what happens when the spark turns into a fire. Now that you've felt the flicker, we're going to talk about how to feed it, how to turn that tiny spark into a powerful flame. We're diving into habits, boundaries, mind shifts, and how real people like you turn their lowest point into the beginning of something beautiful. You won't want to miss this. Stay close. We're just getting warmed up. Segment 3, Rebuilding the Fire, Creating Your Comeback. Okay, fam, take a second and pat yourself on the back. Seriously, if you're still here, still listening, still open to growing, you're doing the work. And this is where the real shift happens. In segment 1, we sat in the hurt. In segment 2, we found the little flicker of hope. Now, in segment 3, we fan that flame. We talk about what it actually looks like to rebuild. Not to go back to how things were, but to build something better, stronger, realer. Because listen, your comeback is not about proving anything to the world. It's about reconnecting to yourself, your strength, your values, your joy, and letting that lead the way forward. So let's get into the beauty of rebuilding step by step. Let me be real with you. When you're knocked down, the last thing you want is someone shouting at you to get up and hustle. That's not this show. We don't do that here. What we do talk about is grace, momentum, progress, not perfection. When you're rebuilding your life, motivation grows in micro moments. Making your bed for the first time in a week, going outside to feel the sun on your face, saying no to something that drains you, saying yes to something that scares you in a good way. Comebacks don't have to be dramatic, they just have to be honest. And this next story is the perfect example of how small wins can change everything. Erica is a mom of 2 from Kansas City who found herself in a deep depression after her divorce. She says she used to be someone who had color-coded calendars and dinner parties every Friday. But after her marriage ended, she couldn't bring herself to do anything. Dishes piled up, the laundry went untouched. She felt paralyzed by grief and shame. One day, her therapist gave her the 10-minute rule. It was simple. Pick any task, and just do it for 10 minutes. No pressure to finish, just start. So she did. 10 minutes folding clothes, 10 minutes journaling, 10 minutes walking around her block. And something amazing happened. She kept going. Some days she only had those 10 minutes, but over time, 10 minutes turned into momentum. And eventually, momentum turned into motivation. Erica said, that rule saved my life. It reminded me that progress can be small and still be everything. Let me just say this loud and clear for the people in the back. Healing isn't a straight line. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Healing isn't a straight line. You will have good days and rough ones, moments of joy and moments of, what am I even doing? And all of that is valid. You don't fail just because you fall back for a minute. Every comeback has curves. Give yourself space to stumble and keep going. Here's another real one for you, and I'll be honest, it hit me hard. Tyree is a musician from Toronto. His story started with a medical diagnosis that flipped his whole life upside down. He had to quit touring, stop working, and move back in with his parents at 35. He told me, I lost my rhythm, literally and emotionally. For a while, he just existed. No music, no plans, no fire. Until one day, he created a playlist just for himself, songs that made him feel something. At first, he'll just lie in bed and listen, but eventually, he started humming, then singing, then writing, then recording. Now, he's dropping his first new EP this year, and the title, Still Got Fire. I love that. He told me, Sunshine, I thought I was done, but music brought me back home to myself. Let's get practical for a moment. Yeah? If you're in that rebuild phase, here are a few powerful tools you can try. Not to fix you, but to support the journey you're already on. Number 1, daily check-in. Every morning, ask yourself, what do I need today? What can I give myself? What's one small win I can celebrate by tonight? Number 2, boundaries as self-respect. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Say no without guilt. Rest without apology. Number 3, movement as medicine. This isn't about fitness. It's about flow. Dance, sketch, walk. Shake off the heavy energy. Number 4, create something. Anything. A doodle, a poem, a playlist, a smoothie. Creativity reconnects you with your power. Number 5, talk to your future self. Write a letter to the you who made it through. You'll be surprised how much that vision pulls you forward. I know that when you've been knocked down, it's easy to think joy isn't for you anymore, that you miss your shot, that you're too tired, too late, too broken. Let me tell you something. I believe with my whole heart, there is still so much joy waiting for you, not just on the other side of the storm, but right here, in the rebuilding. Joy in your favorite song. Joy and a good cup of coffee. Joy in seeing your own resilience staring back at you in the mirror. You don't have to earn joy. You just have to let it in. When you learn how to rebuild once, you carry that forever. And the next time life knocks you down, you'll remember you've done this before and you can do it again. You know how to sit in the hard feelings without getting stuck. You know how to listen for the flicker. You know how to rise slowly, softly, intentionally. And one day, you'll look back and realize you didn't just bounce back, you built back better. Okay, now that we've done the rebuilding, it's time to talk about thriving. In the next segment, we're diving into how to choose passion again, how to say yes to purpose, to dreams, to what lights you up. You've earned this next chapter, and it's going to be beautiful. And as always, we have two more listener stories that'll fill your cup and fire up your soul. Let's keep rising together. Segment 4, Choosing Passion, Fueling Your Purpose After the Storm. All right, now, fam, let's take a break. Inhale, hope. Exhale, fear. You've weathered the storm. You've rediscovered the inner spark. You've begun to rebuild. Maybe slow, maybe shaky, but strong in its own beautiful way. Now, it's time to live on purpose. This segment is all about choosing passion, not in the Pendrick's perfect, hustle harder kind of way, but in a soul deep, this feeds my spirit kind of way. Because let's be honest, when life knocks you down, sometimes you forget what used to make you light up, what made your heart beat faster, what made time disappear because you were so into it. So today, we're going to reconnect with that version of you, the version who wants to create, love, give, grow, and thrive. Let's talk about how to choose passion on purpose. You might be wondering, but sunshine, what if I don't even know what my passion is anymore? That's okay. Truly. When life hits you hard, it's normal to forget what once fueled you. You've been in survival mode, but once you start feeling safe again, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's when curiosity sneaks back in. Passion isn't something you find. It's something you uncover by saying, what makes me feel alive? What did I love before the world told me to grow up? What do I daydream about? Even if I'm scared to admit it out loud. And sometimes, passion finds you in the least expected places, just like it did for our next incredible listener. Devin is a 46-year-old dad in Louisiana who spent over a year feeling stuck after being laid off during the pandemic. He said, I started every day with dread. I was tired of trying. Everything felt great. Until one afternoon, he started pulling weeds in his backyard. That's it. No goal. Just something to do with his hands. But then he kept going. He bought some soil, some seeds, a couple of tomato plants. Now, Devin has a full backyard garden, and he sells his produce at the local farmers market on the weekends. He told me, it gave me purpose again. It gave me peace. It reminded me I could still grow something beautiful, even in the mess. Y'all, isn't that a word? Sometimes passion isn't about what you do, it's about how it makes you feel. When we've been hurt or disappointed, we start closing doors to protect ourselves. I'm too old to start over. Nobody wants what I have to offer. I don't have time for hobbies. I failed before, so why try again? But maybe, just maybe, some of those doors aren't locked. Maybe they're waiting for you to turn the handle. Passion is brave. Passion is trusting the pull you feel, even when it doesn't make perfect sense. Just like this next listener did with an old paintbrush and a whole lot of courage. Maya, a 52-year-old retired school teacher from Brooklyn. She emailed me and said, "Sunshine, I didn't pick up a paintbrush for over 30 years. I thought that part of me was gone. But after a painful breakup, she moved into a new apartment, and one day, while unpacking, she found an old set of acrylics. She stared at them for an hour. Then she started painting. No plan, no pressure, just colors and feelings. That first canvas, she said, it looked like a storm. But after that, she painted again and again. Now, her paintings hang in local cafes, and she teaches art workshops for other women rediscovering their creativity. Maya said, "I realized my heart didn't stop loving art. I just stopped giving it space." Let that sink in. Let's talk truth. Choosing passion isn't selfish, it's self honoring. Doing what lights you up makes you a better partner, parent, friend, and human. It fills your cup so you can pour from a place of joy, not burnout. So if you have been waiting for permission to explore your passions again, this is it. You are allowed to take up space, make noise, try something new and not be great at it, do something just because it feels good. You're allowed to say, "This is who I am now," and that's more than enough. Here's a quick prompt you can come back to whenever you feel disconnected from your fire. When I was a kid, I loved to. If I could try anything without fear, I'll do. I feel most alive when I. Let the answers surprise you. Follow the pool. Because the beautiful thing about passion is personal. There's no right way to pursue it, only your way. You might be thinking, it all sounds amazing, Sunshine, but what if I'm still scared? That's okay. Do it scared. Do it unsure. Do it anyway. Because the magic is in the doing. The more you follow what feels aligned, the more motivation you'll create from the inside out. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to feel again. And next, we're bringing it all together. You've made it to the final segment, and wow, I hope you're feeling proud of yourself. In this last part, we'll reflect on everything we've explored: the fall, the flicker, the rebuild, and the passion. And then we rise. I'll also share how to keep the energy flowing long after this episode ends, and how to stay connected with this beautiful community we're building together. The comeback is happening. The only thing left are you saying yes to it. Segment 5, The Rise. Your story isn't over. Welcome to the part of your story where the phoenix rises, where the scars don't define you, they empower you, where the tears you cried water the ground you're about to run on. This segment is not just a conclusion, it's a celebration of everything you've faced, everything you've rebuilt, and everything you're about to become. This is where we gather the strength from every segment before and turn it into forward motion. Let's rise. We started with the hardest part. what it feels like to hit the ground, the loss, the shock, the confusion, and the quiet that follows after. But you faced it. You didn't run from it, you sat in it. And you saw that even in your lowest moment, your worth never left you. We heard from Jasmine, who lost her job and found herself staring at a blank page, but chose to start over anyway. Carlos, who was blindsided by heartbreak but found his breath again on a quiet mountain trail. And you were reminded falling isn't the end, it's the invitation. Then we talked about that tiny whisper inside that says, try again. You might not even trust it at first, but you heard it. We explored how the smallest sparks, like a sunrise, a kind word, a deep breath, can remind us that we're still here and still worthy of joy. We heard from Lena, who found a spark in the pages of a journal and gave herself permission to feel. Marcus, who felt hope return through a simple act of service and connection. And we remembered, you don't have to wait for motivation. You create it one flicker at a time. Then came the part where the magic started to take shape, the rebuilding. We talked about choosing small wins, letting the journey be messy, giving yourself grace to grow at your own pace. You don't need to leap tall buildings. You just need to show up. We heard from Erica, who used the 10-minute rule to shift her entire day, then her week, then her life. Tyreek, who let music carry him from despair to a new EP called Still Got Fire. And we remembered ourselves. You're not the same person who failed. You're wiser, braver, realer. After rebuilding came the fun part, the rediscovery of your passions, your creativity, your voice. We talked about following what makes you feel alive, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Even if you're scared, especially if you're scared. We heard from Devin, who turned pulling weeds into a purpose-filled backyard garden and market business. Maya, who picked up a paintbrush after 30 years and found her soul in every stroke. And we celebrated this truth. Passion doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. It's not about being fixed. You were never broken. It's about saying, I've been through it and I'm still here. It's about using every experience as fuel, not failure. It's about loving the version of you who fell and the one who stood up. It's about rising, not for anyone else, but for you. Before we close, I want to share one last listener story, one that brought tears to my eyes and fire to my heart. Angela is 28 from Detroit, and she has survived more than most: abuse, addiction, homelessness. She wrote, Sunshine, I found your podcast on a library computer while trying to stay warm. I didn't think I had anything left in me, but hearing other people's story made me believe maybe I could have one too. She's now 9 months sober, working at a community center and mentoring other young women. She said, I used to think I was damaged. Now I know I'm divine. I've still got a story to tell. Whew, let that one sink in. Your rise isn't just about you. It creates ripples that reach places you never even see. You get to write what happens next. You get to choose healing over hiding. You get to choose purpose over pain. You get to choose passion over perfection. And no matter where you are on that journey, still knocked down, flickering, rebuilding, or rising, you are exactly where you need to be. You're doing the work. You're finding the fire. you're rising. If this episode lifted you as it did me, I want to ask you to do 3 simple things. Number 1, share the love. Send this episode to someone who needs a little motivation. Your share might be the spark that lights up someone else's day. Number 2, leave a 5-star review. If this podcast has poured into you, and I hope it has, return the favor. Those reviews help us reach more amazing souls just like you. And number 3, join the community. Follow Energize Your Passion on social media, and let's keep this conversation going. Tag me in your favorite moments. Share your story, or just drop a, "Hey sunshine, I love hearing from you." Because this isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. And remember, even when life knocks you down, you have everything you need to get back up. Keep rising, keep glowing, and keep energizing your passion. Until next time, this is Sunshine, signing off with love.